What's up, guys? Today we're going to be comparing the Galaxy S23 FE to the iPhone 13. So these are two phones that are really popular on carriers and especially prepaid carriers, so I get quite a bit of questions about these phones. So which one is going to be better? So if you're not already biased on, if you like Android or iPhone, so if you're, kind of up for any phone, then this is two really good phones to choose from. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, if you are going to buy these phones, the S23 FE is slightly cheaper in the used refurbished marketplace, not by much, but they're both around that upper $300 price point if you get them in the used refurbished marketplace. So expect to pay somewhere around like $360, $370 for these. So let's go ahead and start off with the hardware. So one thing you'll notice is that the iPhone 13 is definitely a little bit smaller than the S23 for sure here. They're both very nice looking phones as far as the build quality goes. They're IP68 dust and water resistant, and they're both glass and metal phones, so they both have that nice premium feel in the hand. So let's talk about the displays. So the displays on here are very good on both of these devices. The iPhone 13 has a 6.1-inch display, so it's a slightly smaller panel here, and then it also does have the Super Retina XDR OLED display, 1200 nits peak brightness. It is a 1170 by 2532 resolution display. It's 460 for the PPI, and it does have that kind of old school notch up top compared to the punch hole on the S23. One thing that you'll notice is that the iPhone definitely has slimmer bezels here, as you can see, but again, the notch kind of like messes it up a little bit. They're both completely flat displays as well too. Now, you do have a 6.4-inch dynamic AMOLED display on the S23 FE, and it's 120 Hz HDR10 Plus at 1450 nits peak brightness. And then you also have a 1080p resolution at 403 for the PPI. So the S23 FE's display is definitely the better display, and you can see they both kind of have different color profiles, with the S23 just looking a little bit more vibrant and colorful. But yeah, so I really like the displays on both phones. The iPhone does have a slightly higher resolution panel here, but the big thing here is that you have 120 Hz on the S23 FE. So that's something that I really appreciate. It does look very, very smooth, and I think it's something that once you try, I don't think you really want to go back to any 60 Hz panel. So I do definitely like the panel on the S23 FE a little bit more. Alright, so let's talk about the processor here. So the iPhone 13, it does have the Apple A15 chip, 128 gigs of internal storage, and 4 gigs of RAM. And then on the S23 FE, you have the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1, and then you have 128 gigs of internal storage and 8 gigs of RAM. As you can see here, the iPhone is pretty much faster in both the single core and multi-core scores by a pretty good margin. So it is definitely a faster phone. The chipset is just, it's just faster, right? Now, as far as speed, both of these phones are fast. That's why I try not to get too much into benchmarks because they're both really, really fast when playing games, launching applications. Yeah, the iPhone is going to be probably slightly a little bit faster when booting up applications and stuff like that. But the S23 feels faster because it has the 120 Hz. So, like I said, there's not like a big difference, even though we saw, kind of a bit of a difference there with the single core and the multi-core scores. I don't think that it's that much of a difference here. So like I said, if you're worried about speed, it's not something I really worry about. Let's go ahead and launch PUBG here. See which one of these gets in here the fastest. So it looks like the iPhone is definitely ahead there by a good amount of time. It got in there really, really quick. So you can see the speed difference. I think it's more noticeable when you're launching games and stuff like that, but in general it's not going to be that big of a difference. But yeah, the iPhone is definitely the faster phone. Now when it comes to the actual gaming, like I said, gaming is going to be pretty much the same on both of these phones. You can see your best settings on iPhone HDR Extreme, and very fast, so no issues when it comes to gaming on this device. And it's the same thing for the S23 FE. It does have the same settings. Now this phone should be able to run this game at 90 frames, but it's not optimized for it yet. But once it does, I do think this would be the better gaming device, but we don't have the 90 frames option yet, so they're kind of playing at the same settings for right now. But yeah, performance on these two phones, like I said, is going to be pretty similar. Let's check out the speakers at max volume. So both speakers sound pretty good. I'm not sure which one sounds better. Let me know in the comments. They both sound really good, kind of similar in terms of sound, bass quality. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. The iPhone does sound a little bit cleaner. Yeah, but this one's pretty tough, so let me know what you guys think. Now, as far as your biometrics and stuff like that, like I said, the iPhone only has one option, and it's very good. The Face ID, it does work, so I don't have an issue with Face ID. It does work fine, but the cool thing about Android is that you get the fingerprint scanner and you get Face Unlock. Even though the Face Unlock is not as secure, you still get those two options, which is something that I like. Alright, let's talk about the camera. So, the iPhone does have a 12 megapixel standard and a 12 megapixel ultra wide. This phone is lacking any type of telephoto lens. It does shoot in 4K 60 with a 12 megapixel selfie. That also shoots in 4K 60. The S23 FE has a 15 megapixel standard, has a 8 megapixel telephoto at 3 times optical, and then a 12 megapixel ultra wide. It shoots in 8K 24 along with a 10 megapixel selfie that shoots in 4K 60. So I'm going to show you guys these side-by-side stills and video. Let me know which phone that you think takes the better photos here. Alright, so the battery situation on here on both of these phones is pretty good. The iPhone 13 has pretty decent battery life, but I would definitely give it to the S23 FE. I think this phone has better battery life and better standby time as well too. It's got a 4500 milliamp hour battery with 25 watt charging, wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. The iPhone does have a 3200 milliamp hour battery, and then you have your wireless charging with the MagSafe accessories and stuff like that, and then you also get the wireless charging as well too on here. Yeah, I definitely noticed that the S23 FE is just has better battery life and definitely better standby time as well too. Now the 13's battery life is not bad by any means. It's pretty good. You can get through a day with this phone, but if you're going to be gaming and stuff like that, yeah, it's something that I definitely noticed between the two. So yeah, you do have, again, better battery life. So which phone do you guys prefer? It's pretty interesting. I think both these phones have some pros and cons, of course. To them, it really depends. If you're not dead set on Android or iOS, there's a lot of benefit between the two of these devices since they're priced pretty, similar as well too. So which phone would you guys pick? Let me know and I'll catch you guys in the next one.